Holding grudges have ended up creating some great things. We have seen that lot in the history. Arguably, one of the recent examples is this, the Ineos Grenadier. Right now, one of the toughest and rugged off-roader available in the market. But we need to know what was the grudge and how this car performed. So I'm taking you for the first spin of the all-new Grenadier. Welcome to Slab. Some obsession make the people crazy, right? This is one example of that. Ineos is basically a chemical manufacturer. Sir Jim Ratcliffe is an avid Defender fan. When Defender asked production, he couldn't resist. He wanted something of that kind of his own. That's how Ineos Grenadiers were created. Grenadier, the name is actually soldier with grenade. But this was the pub's name where he conceived the idea. Rest is history. So we check out that history. The grudges and the rivalries of automobiles are as old as its origin. We have seen many examples by now. But the end result makes me happy because it has created some great machines. So is the Ineos Grenadier. As I mentioned in the beginning, Sir Jim Ratcliffe, the chairman of multinational company Ineos Chemical, was a huge Defender fan. He used to use Defender to its core, and he wanted Defender to continue in a new form, but not as what we see now as a lifestyle machine, but more of a utilitarian off-roader overland vehicle. So Sir Ratcliffe approached Jaguar Land Rover to buy the tooling to continue the production, which was the reason for his grudge to produce something like this new Ineos Grenadier. The vehicle name is after Ratcliffe's favorite pub, the Grenadier, where this idea was conceived. Once he conceived the idea, he wanted the best. So he approached Magnastier from Austria for the engineering and development of his favorite baby. And you know the reason, right? If you don't, I'll explain you. The Magnastier is a company who, along with Mercedes, developed the mighty G-Wagon. Still one of the best off-roaders in the world. Right now, we might be seeing more of a lifestyle vehicle. Its capability is unmatched. So they wanted Grenadier also to have such a capable off-roading ability, which we have seen and experienced, which I'll explain in some time. However, the powertrain is sourced from BMW. They opted for two inline 6-cylinders, which are petrol and diesel, and they also carried the ZF HP gearbox as a pack. Initially, the plan was to build the Grenadier in a plant in Wales. Later, the plan was changed, and in July 2020, Ineos had a talk with Daimler AG to take over Mercedes car plant where they used to make the smart vehicles in Hamburg, France. And this is where the new Grenadier is being built. Now when I look behind, I can feel it's a European Union project. Of course now it's a Brexit, but it was conceived all before that. So there are 4 countries involved in building Ineos Grenadier: Britain, Austria, France and Germany. Now it's unique. We have not seen any grudge stories pan around in 4 countries. So this Grenadier is born as a multinational. Mr. Ratcliffe's love for Defender is first evident in the design of the Ineos Grenadier. They were trying to recreate the new Defender, which is very evident with how it looks. All the parts have some touch from the Defender, but Grenadier carry its own identity, its character and its looks. Just check out the design. It's a proper old school type, but I would like to call it as a classic retro. Would you agree with that? Please do comment. In this stance, this Grenadier may look short, but actually it's a tall vehicle. It's long, it has got a greenhouse which is large enough to see everything outside the world. Some Defender element can be seen, but there are a lot more utility element. So 17-inch wheel, but big profile 80 tire, good for off-roading, and lot more are seen in the side. So let's check out the details. The split door, this ladder, huge spare wheel, and overall stance make it this Grenadier look exactly like a proper machine for a purpose. And that is how Grenadier was designed and conceived. and I think the look served the purpose. Let me know your comment about this and what will be your choice of an avid rugged off-roader. So basically, the Ineos Grenadier build is very conventional. They made it on ladder frame and all the underpinnings are very conventional way. But they tried to make it the best by making the build quality and fit and finish to the best what they can, which is reflecting on the performance definitely. But first, we should have the idea or we should have the realization that this is not a monocoque car and doesn't come with an independent suspension. So a lot of people doesn't think about it and give comments, which is what I even felt in some reviews. So if you're looking for a vehicle like a Grenadier, you are actually looking for something which is very conventional and building the gap which is left over by the Defender, the old Defenders. So that way it will be a little bouncy, it will definitely be tighter on the steering, and definitely you are not going to be experiencing a very plushy magic carpet ride on highways nor on city boulevards. But if you consider that, then you can feel the difference that this is made well. It doesn't give you back too much of harsh dams, nor it is like bouncing too much on the rear, which gives us confidence, especially when you take turns and curves. Of course, it is bouncy, it is leaning towards one side, but if you have proper control of the rear, we tend to have more confidence and we can push it to the maximum what we can. And this engine plays a big role in this car because it's got enough juice to push this almost 3-ton machine whenever you want to overtake, like I did now. So basically Ineos sourced the engine from BMW. They have two options, one is a diesel and the other one is a petrol, which we are driving today. Both are 3-liter inline 6 with twin scroll turbo and it having a decent output. The top end model which we are driving right now with a petrol powertrain gives out a power of 383 HP and around 500 Nm of torque. And this engine is mated to an 8-speed ZF gearbox, which again comes with BMW. The quick shift and the response of the gearbox is impressive. And this one is an all-time 4-wheel drive vehicle, but there are two options on differential locks available. This comes with the basic all-time 4-wheel drive with engaging low range, but there is an option to get the 3 diff lock version which can be engaged mechanically. And all these controls are over here like in the cockpit of a plane, or maybe I would call it more of an helicopter, because this individual sunroof give me that feel of some of the choppers which give that full glass effect. And you can see a lot of chunky big switches around here and all over the center console. So if you're a person who complained about the touch screens and all the controls are over there, this is the vehicle for you, because you have no chance to complain about it. Everything is proper manually operated switches. Of course, there's an entertainment screen over here which is like giving out infotainment system, as well as play the tachometer and the speedometer over here. The small bit over here which gives out the signal lights, which is for your attention when something goes wrong. But the dashboard is designed in a way that they can use it multiply. If you want to build a left and right car, it will be like this. They can use the same dashboard structure to build the right and drive also. So they're actually, Ineos is trying to reduce the cost of production. As I mentioned in the brief, this car can be called as a European Union car. Maybe they designed it or conceived it before the Brexit. It's a British company, which is Ineos, developed in Austria by Magnaster, using German, which is BMW engine, and built in France, which was the ex-Smart plant. So it's a combination of all these countries, which is similar to what we see in Airbus aircraft. In Airbus, engines are made by British, the Rolls-Royce, and it is built in Hamburg in Germany, and the spare, all the parts are actually manufactured in France. So that way, Ineos is similar to that. Since it's been developed by Magnaster, you know who is that, right? Magnaster is the one who developed the mighty G-Wagon. So you don't have to question the off-roading capability of the car, which I'll be experiencing soon. But right now, what I will share you is my on-road experience, and I have to tell you, it is much better than what I expected, or which has been learned from some of the reviews. Of course, there is bit of concerns like there's a lot of wind noise coming into the cabin. You can see actually the drag is very strong, dragging with the shape, and wind is obstructing the windscreen. But when you push it, it's going out smoothly. Suspension is comfortable for a ladder frame chassis. Brake, of course, it's very effective, but you feel the entire weight to the front when you do half braking, which is kind of scary for some cases. And steering is, as I mentioned, is like hard, as well as the turning radius is very less. So if you are mostly using on city, you will encounter some tight challenges when you're taking a U-turn or making a parking. So that is something which they should try and sort. So here these guys are using mostly as a statement, because it's now a new trend. It's not like what it is actually made for. The purpose of building such a car was basically for overlanding and taking it off-roading. But every time we have seen this trend going on, and lately it will become a boulevard vehicle. So if they are coming up with any variants which is more luxurious, please consider the steering part to be sorted. Otherwise, everything seems to be good for a ladder frame chassis. But so I'm telling you again, these are the cars actually meant for those who really miss out the chunky off-roaders like the Defenders. So don't complain after buying this that this is not like a monocoque or air suspension vehicle. It's not meant for that. It is purposefully made for some other reason, and I think they decently serve that. Now it's my turn to take it off-road, but before that, let's check out the interior also in detail. Interior of the Ineos Grenadier is designed in a way it is more functional and utility than more of a gadgets and luxury. Those who complain about more screens, this is a place for you, because you have only two screens. One is the major infotainment screen derived from BMW, and other one is a small screen which gives out all the signals in front of your steering. There's no other instrument console in front, which is actually a way of flexible design where the engineers can adopt both right and drive and left and drive with the same panel console. Interior is again inspired from the old Defender. There is tons of switches on the center console, which are chunky switches, which controls most of the climate control, audio and other functions. And then there is a row of switches above the roof, which resembles more of an aircraft or more of a chopper. It is where most of the off-road and other auxiliary function switches are all placed. It all can be operated with touch of a button, and it's very utilitarian oriented. Very heavy, high quality materials are used in these switches. The other thing which derived from BMW apart from the powertrain is the gear lever, which is proper from the last generation of BMWs, which is a joystick, but it feels a bit out of place next to the chunky off-road lever, which is more suiting for this interior. Steering wheel is a two-spoke, very functional one, but very chunky one. I felt it should have been a little slimmer for better hold, especially for those guys who have medium build. There's an attractive element on the steering wheel, which are two type of horn buttons. One is a regular one, and for a pedestrians and cyclists there's a mild one with a red button. You can use that if you don't want somebody in your front to be shocked. Seats are also crafted very well. It's comfortable. There is enough support. The ergonomics around the interior also great. The seat also give you a kind of rolling the road feel, which is upper, and can see, and you get a good view from the front both seats. Rear seats also sitting a little higher, like in the old Defenders and the G-Wagons. So still level is low, so we can see outside very clearly. There is space for three in the rear. There's a small transmission tunnel which actually part of the rear differential. But otherwise, you can accommodate three in comfort. There is enough rooms for your shoulder, head, knee and thigh. Everything is very functional. There is a lot of space as cup holder, bottle holder and glove boxes. And for the other utility, you have the grab handle to get in. And as another utility element, there is a strong chunky grab handles to make your egress and ingress easier. Overall, it's more of a functional interior than more luxury. But for those who love the retro feel, there's the interior for you. As I mentioned from the beginning, the Ineos Grenadier is a machine which is developed primarily for off-roading, overlanding and camping. So you get the real off-roader feel once you get out from the tarmac. The primary attraction for me while driving on off-road is the confidence which is built while you're getting off and dirt. That is one thing which always required on any off-roaders. The powertrain is capable, the HP gearbox has low range and high range for all the gears, which is another attractive element. There's enough grunt on both diesel and petrol engines for taking it off-road, but I would prefer a diesel for more torquiness so that we can have better control without burning much fuel. Because the range on full filling is comparatively little lower because of the lower fuel efficiency. But I don't know how many people are going to take it for such a long overlanding like in Australia, US and Africa. However, there's other options like you can get external tanks so that you can carry your fuels for safety. Okay, again coming back to off-roading, there is enough aids which is inbuilt like the long range diff locks and enough and more ground clearance. Breakover angle is a bit challenging sometimes because of the length, but otherwise, approach angle and departure angle are great. Even though the car which we are driving today is fixed with a 80 tire, a better MT would be the best choice for heavy and serious off-roading. Anyway, with the ladder flap chassis built, that would be a better option. It's a 2.6 ton vehicle. Again, that would be again a challenge, but for someone who loves Defenders, that weight is not an issue. They'll be used to take off-road with heavy machines. Since the Grenadier is the answer for the new Defender, since this Grenadier is the answer for not retaining the old school Defender, because in lot of areas, the new Ineos Defender is much superior than the older Defender.